Welcome to the Diversity Talk series powered by Great Companies, Great Leaders podcast and sponsored by Best Companies AZ and Career Connectors. I'm your host, Christine Gannon, the founder and CEO of Brightworks Consulting. And we are a boutique consulting firm focused on helping companies at the local level with diversity, equity, and inclusion solutions that really make a difference, whether it's developing the entire strategy for diversity, equity, and inclusion, or providing the latest best practices and policies. We offer a roadmap for companies to improve the culture. Today, we're honored to host the Diversity Talk series that was created to connect with award-winning companies who are committed to fostering a work environment where the differences that we're born with and those we acquire throughout our lives are understood, valued, and celebrated. We're having conversations with Arizona's top employers to discuss how a focus on diversity and inclusion leads to better performance, increased innovation, and enhanced ability to address customer needs, and a more vibrant culture. And today we have another great conversation with award-winning company Farmers Insurance. We're honored to have Kisa Edwards, the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with us, and a little bit about Kisa. She is, again, the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Farmers Insurance. She is responsible for leading the enterprise implementation of DE&I and belonging initiatives across the organization. Edwards' 16 years of experience in the insurance industry and a passion for social equity has helped empower her to drive positive change with a focus on enhancing talent, diversity, inclusive workplace culture, social equity, and philanthropy. She works closely with stakeholders enterprise-wide to help advance a work culture of belonging. And prior to her current position as Director of DE&I at Farmers, she held roles focused on business continuity, risk management, auto claims, and more. And she founded and led the Kansas City Resource Group, ERG, from 2017 to 2019. In June of 2019, she was selected as the national lead for BPA until January 2021. She's also the founding member of the National African American Insurance Association, the Greater Kansas City chapter, and she serves as their treasurer. Based on her professional accomplishments and contributions to the insurance industry, Edwards was named one of the Insurance Business America's Elite Women for 2022. Congratulations.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me today, Christine. It's a pleasure to speak with you and be able to join you on the conversation.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the company?
Sure. So I serve as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Farmers Insurance, which is one of the nation's largest insurer groups of homes, cars, small businesses, and more. And it's been such a privilege to be in this role because my team and I, we get to focus on ways we can help farmers advance this commitment to diversity and inclusion in our workplace and broader in the communities that we serve.
And let's talk a little bit about that. How does your company demonstrate its commitment to D&I?
Farmers has had a long-standing commitment to diversity and inclusion, which serves as the foundation of our culture, and it helps guide the organization in its mission to make a positive impact in the communities where farmers' employees live and work. And so, Christine, there's many ways that we demonstrate the commitment through workplace and corporate citizenship initiatives. Internally, we're fostering a diverse and inclusive work culture where employees feel a sense of belonging. And then externally, we're supporting our communities where we're proud to serve through philanthropy, advocacy, and volunteerism. So when I think about what we're doing internally at Farmers Workplace, we've been on our diversity and inclusion journey to live our lives and values for years now. And one of the most important values that we have here is respecting the diversity and potential of every individual at Farmers and empower employees to be their true selves at work. And as a leading employer nationally and locally in Phoenix, we strive to cultivate an inclusive work culture that celebrates the diversity of our colleagues. For example, you mentioned earlier, I've taken part in an employee resource group. And so Farmers has a robust network of employee resource groups, which helps support employees in bringing their whole selves to work. We provide employees with various diversity and inclusion training options designed to help participants identify strategies and practices for building an inclusive work environment. And then we were really proud about our inclusive benefits like paid parental leave, tuition assistance, which I've tapped in and taken advantage of, and a benefits marketplace that allows eligible employees to choose the healthcare plan that's right for them, their families, and their goals. From a corporate social responsibility standpoint, Farmers' CSR strategy includes support for philanthropic and community groups that promote DE&I. We really champion worthy causes and work with a variety of nonprofit organizations that share our vision for meaningful community engagement. So for example, in Arizona, Farmers has awarded grants to local Arizona nonprofits, including Greater Phoenix Urban League, to help further its mission to support minorities and those in need of achieving economic and social equality. We've also connected with the Boys and Girls Club of the Valley and to help fund their after-school programming for underserved youth. And then another organization called 1 in 10, which serves our Arizona LGBT community. And these programs and initiatives are just a few of the ways that Farmers has built a strong foundation within our culture that demonstrates our commitment to DE&I.
I really appreciate so many things that you just shared in terms of how Farmers demonstrates the action, what the action is. Something that you mentioned early on was that, you've been on a journey for many years. And I think that's so important. I wanted to pull that out to just talk about that for just a quick minute, because a lot of organizations think that they can just do some training and that's their DE&I program, and then they're done. Or they might have had an issue in the organization and they just want to do something quickly to resolve that and keep moving. And DE&I is really a journey, like you said. It really is a journey, and hopefully it's programming that becomes part of the DNA of the organization versus a project or a training course or an initiative, that it really is the fabric of the company. And it's really encouraging to hear all the ways that Farmers is really demonstrating that.
I 100% agree. And we started with our employee resource groups, and we've evolved it. So it's more of a grassroots, and now we've expanded on it a lot with adding in enterprise DE&I councils to make sure that we have the accountability from the top down and bottom up. It's been nice to watch our journey evolve. I've been with the company for 16 years, so I've been able to experience the change firsthand.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that's a great lead into my next question, which is about ERGs. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of ERGs to your company and the diversity program?
So first, an employee resource group. We have employee resource groups, and they're voluntary. They're employee-led groups that are dedicated to fostering a diverse and inclusive workplace environment in support of our organization's missions, values, and business strategy. And so we leverage our ERGs to connect with individuals and employees who come together based on a common shared interest, backgrounds, experiences, or identities. And it's really helping our employees to bring their whole selves to work. And so the ERGs at Farmers help support the business strategy through providing employee leadership opportunities, networking, career development opportunities, and they really have helped us cultivate a meaningful connection between Farmers and the communities that we serve. And so when I think about our engagement and how our employee resource groups connect with our employee base, they really help encourage a culture of engagement. They give employees another way to help make their voices heard. They help enhance the collective employee experience for everyone at Farmers. And I'm proud to say that we have 9 active and very engaged ERGs at Farmers, and they sit across the nation. We have local chapters, we have national leads, and our 9 ERGs, we have the Black Professional Alliance, Disability Inclusion Group, Farmers Asian Alliance, Farmers Future, which helps with careers, Farmers Pride, Parent Connect, Stoneless Farmers, which is our Hispanic and Latino ERG group, our Veterans and Advocates, and our Women's Inclusion Network. And then on top of that, Christine, we have 2 additional corporate initiative groups that help connect our employees with our wonderful benefit offerings. So we have Farmers Fit and Mindfully Fit. And both of those groups have done a wonderful job supporting our employee base across the board.
That's fantastic. Very robust. So it goes back to my prior comment in terms of this didn't just happen, right? It's an evolution of where you started and where you're at today. But what a phenomenal culture and environment for your employees. So let's talk a little bit about policies and practices that Farmers has put in place to promote DE&I in the culture. ERG would be one in support of ERGs, but what are some other policies and practices?
So we, with our commitment for fostering an inclusive culture and celebrating the diversity found across our company and in the communities we serve, it's very foundational for our organization. We talked about that before, is building a foundation. It's not a one-time topic of discussion. And so we believe it's important to reflect that commitment in our policies and practices. So for example, our CEO, Jeff Daly, is a proud signatory of CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion, the largest CEO-driven business commitment to advance diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And as a part of his involvement, our CEO has pledged to cultivate a workplace where diverse perspectives and experiences are welcomed and respected, and where employees feel comfortable and empowered to discuss diversity and inclusion topics and philosophies. And so through open and regular communication, we engage our employees on the enterprise, business unit, and individual level to elevate important conversations. And that's through hosting town halls or coffee chats and roundtable discussions where employees can voluntarily participate in activities to help them better understand and celebrate each other. And so, as I've already described before, our employee resource groups play a major role in supporting our overall Farmers culture. They connect with our talent acquisition group. They also help with just business strategy in general, professional development. But beyond that, this month we want to say that it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are observing this awareness month, and we're hosting a series of virtual events and activities to help bring cultural awareness, offer social events, and share professional development opportunities at Farmers in partnership with our Somos Farmers ERG. So again, they really have a big part in our processes and policies and how we educate other employees on what's impacting some of the different affinity groups at Farmers. So as we continue along in our D&I journey, we are consistently growing and evolving our programming that's relevant and impactful to our employee population, which reinforces everyone has a role to play in building a strong and inclusive culture. And one thing that I've known being in this role, the diversity and inclusion in this space keeps evolving over time, and yet you have to keep up with it. So you can't just create something and leave it alone and assume that it will address your employee needs in the future and years to come.
Agree. And something tactically that you brought up, I wanted to circle back to, which is the town halls and having focus groups, because a lot of times employers will use employee surveys, which I think are phenomenal. I think that's a great practice to use an employee survey. But sometimes there's cultures where employees don't feel as confident or safe to respond even anonymously, right? So they may not respond at all, or they may not respond truthfully because they potentially are fearful. So I love that there's multiple channels within Farmers that employees have an opportunity to share. And just based on our conversation so far, I know that the information that's coming out of those focus groups, out of those surveys, or out of those town halls that employees are sharing, that your leadership team is taking it seriously, that change happens based on those communications. It isn't falling on deaf ears and everyone walks away and nothing happens. It sounds like there's a lot that goes into really listening, but then acting.
Yes, and it's really nice to have those avenues so you can hear that it's not just you feeling a certain way about a certain topic. There's others that are sharing those opinions and experiences, and that's been very valuable for Farmers.
Absolutely. So I have a couple more questions for you. Why would you recommend Farmers as a good place for diverse candidates to apply?
Well, I have been here for 16 years, so I might have a bit of a positive bias towards Farmers as a great employer. But we have really made diversity and inclusion at the critical components of everything that we do at Farmers and the foundation of people strategy. It's not lip service. Like, we really care about how we impact and support our employees. And so our commitment to D&I is reflected in many of the initiatives we've already discussed, which is from Farmers ERGs to our inclusive benefit offerings and more. And so I would just encourage diverse candidates to consider Farmers, because we are an organization that believes diversity makes us stronger. But we also know that it's beyond just diversity. We also need to make sure that we have and we drive inclusion through our culture that empowers our employees to connect, contribute, engage, and fulfill their potential at Farmers. So we really do value the diverse perspectives, backgrounds, the experiences, all of the identities. We celebrate it. And if anyone is interested in learning more about what we have to offer, I'd encourage you to visit farmers.com/careers and explore the information that's available on our website.
Absolutely. I can see why you're an award-winning company, because you've taken it very intentionally. Diversity, equity, inclusion is very intentional, and it definitely is woven into all the policies and practices that you operate with. So, Kisa, can I throw you a curveball?
I'll do my best.
Okay, who's your hero? I want to close out with that. Who's your hero?
My mom. My mom is my hero. That's always my go-to, because she has, I will contribute my resiliency, and ability to get through and manage through tough times, challenging times, to growing up and being raised by a very strong woman.
Phenomenal. Well, congrats. That's awesome. Thank you. And thank you for being with us today. Kisa Edwards, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Farmers Insurance. Thank you.
Brightworks Consulting hosts this podcast and YouTube channel to spotlight the leadership around the world that is changing lives. Brightworks offers a myriad of consulting services in the public and private sector, to include diversity, equity, and inclusion solutions for any size company. You can find us at www.brightworksconsulting.com. We're honored to have Best Companies AZ as a presenting sponsor for this podcast. Best Companies AZ is your #1 source for regional employer branding. You can find them at www.bestcompaniesaz.com.